Hello everyone and welcome to Sunup. I'm Lyndall Stout. Today we're talking about some feeding options for your cattle herd over the next couple months with Dr. Dave Lalman, our OSU Extension beef cattle specialist. Dave, let's talk about creep feeding and how the scenario may look this year over previous years.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, conditions are always changing. And it is different this year, the outlook for that, because cattle prices are very high. Feed prices are relatively low compared to the last few years. So it's something that folks ought to maybe consider.
Let's, for those who don't know what it is, have a brief recap of what creep feeding is.
Sure. Creep feeding is the practice of supplying a concentrate feed source to calves while they're still nursing their mothers. And of course you'd want to limit access or restrict access for the cows, or they're going to consume it all. And so that's why most people would use a creep feeder, which is designed to accomplish that. And so normally our advice to producers, commercial producers, is that creep feeding rarely pays. Things are different this year. Cattle prices are very high, feed prices are moderate. And so it's something I think with about 60 days left in the season here before people start weaning their calves, something folks might ought to consider.
So let's run the numbers a little bit. You've kind of put pencil to paper and have some of the economics behind all of this. What does that look like on average, knowing that there is some kind of ebb and flow to prices and the bottom line?
Yeah, sure. And the efficiency of creep conversion to calf weight gain. That one is really critical for the economics. And the literature, the research shows that, gosh, that number can range from about 4.5 pounds of creep feed per extra 1 pound of calf weight gain up to 20 pounds of creep feed per 1 pound of extra calf weight gain. 20 is not going to work very well, right? Well, the more creep feed calves consume, the poorer that conversion will be. The longer you expose calves to creep feed access, the more they eat, all right? And so the more they eat, the poorer the conversion. Well, we're only 60 days away or so from weaning, so I think that would limit their ability to learn to consume a lot of feed. Maybe get up to around 4 to 5 pounds of feed intake a day. Therefore, Lyndall, the critical number there I think is probably we could expect somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe 6 to 7 pounds of feed per pound of additional calf weight gain. Okay, and so if we assume 7 under these conditions, and it's hot, dry, forage quality is going down, at the cost of about 15 cents a pound times 7 pounds, that's $1.05 a day. Well, that extra pound of calf weight gain right now is worth somewhere in the neighborhood of $1.50 to $2 a pound. And so that suggests there's an opportunity there.
What kind of feed do you use in these special feeders?
So if you're going to provide feed free choice to calves, it needs to be something like a 14% protein product. Most commercial companies produce a product like that and even label it or call it a creep feed. And so they're readily available throughout the state. Some folks most creep feed products are going to be pelleted. Some folks would provide a textured product in that 14% protein range, but they're going to be well formulated with the needs of a growing calf in mind. And so finding a creep feed product that fits this need should not be difficult.
So we talked about the economics, we talked about the nutrition value for the feed that they're getting. What are the other advantages in terms of calf behavior that may help at weaning time?
Yeah, so advantages, disadvantages, yes, the list can get sort of long, but we've already talked a little about one of the disadvantages, and that is if you give calves access to creep feed too long, they might eat too much and get too fleshy and therefore result in a market discount. However, with only about 60 days left, I don't think that is much of a risk at this point in time. And the advantage is that it trains or teaches those calves to consume concentrate feed. Up to this point in their life, they're naive. They don't know about that. But at the end of 60 days or so, they'll have it figured out, and it should minimize stress come weaning time.
So you have an article, and then of course the county, OSU Extension, ag educators can help out with this for people who want to dive in a little more.
I mean, they're going to know their local feed costs and feeds that are available for creep feeding scenario. They're going to know their local market. And so yes, the extension educators will be very helpful on that topic.
All right, great. Thanks a lot, Dave.
Absolutely.
And for more information on creep feeding, just go to sunup.okstate.edu.